Welcome to HistoriDoc, Chronicles of the Great War. We're here to take you on a captivating journey back in time, piecing together the puzzle of our past. History isn't just about dates and facts. It's about people, places, emotions, and the choices that lead to monumental events. If you share our fascination for history, you're in the right place. In our upcoming episodes, we'll delve deep into the untold stories of World War I, a conflict that shaped the world as we know it today. From the assassination that sparked the war to the diplomatic tensions that ensued, we'll uncover the truth behind the headlines. So sit back, relax, and join us as we travel back to the summer of 1914, where our story begins. And remember, history isn't just about the past, it's about understanding our present and shaping our future. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Now let's step into the world on the brink of the Great War. In the summer of 1914, the world stood on the precipice of an epic-shaping event. The air was thick with anticipation, yet the people went about their daily lives, oblivious to the monumental change on the horizon. In the heart of Europe, nestled among the rugged mountains and picturesque rivers, lay the city of Sarajevo, a city that was known for its beauty, its vibrant culture, its mix of East and West. The city was alive with the hustle and bustle of everyday life, the air filled with the aroma of local cuisine, the laughter of children, and the chatter of the town's people. Yet in that same city, under the bright summer sun, a plot was brewing, one that would send shockwaves around the globe and ignite the flames of the Great War. At the center of it all were Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife, Sophie. The Archduke, the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, was a man of stature and influence. He was in Sarajevo that fateful day, a visitor in a city that was a melting pot of cultural and political tension. As the Archduke and his wife rode through the city in an open-top car, waving to the onlookers, they were completely unaware of the danger lurking in the shadows. Meanwhile, a group of young men, fueled by nationalism and a desire for change, were waiting for their moment to strike. The tension was palpable, yet invisible to the innocent bystander. The city was a ticking time bomb and the fuse was about to be lit. This was the calm before the storm, the quiet before the chaos, the peace before the war. Little did they know, a city known for its beauty would become the birthplace of chaos. But that's a story for our next episode. For now, let's take a moment to appreciate the tranquility before the storm, the innocence before the awakening, and the peace before the war that changed the world forever. June 28, 1914, an assassin's bullets echoed through the tranquil streets of Sarajevo, forever altering the course of history. On this fateful day, the lives of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria and his wife Sophie were abruptly snuffed out by a young Bosnian Serb nationalist named Gavrilo Princip. Princip was a member of the Black Hand, a secret society committed to the unification of all South Slav territories that were annexed by Austria-Hungary. His act of defiance wasn't just a personal vendetta, but a political statement, a spark that ignited the powder keg of Europe's mounting tensions. As the Archduke and his wife paraded through the streets of Sarajevo in an open-top car, they were blissfully unaware of the plot that was about to unfold. A well-aimed shot from Princip's pistol ended their lives, and in doing so, set the wheels of war into motion. Pandemonium broke out on the streets of Sarajevo. The cheers and applause of the crowd were replaced by screams and cries of horror. Princip was apprehended, but the damage was done. The seeds of conflict had been sown, and they would soon grow into a war that would engulf the world. As the news of the assassination spread, it sent ripples of shock and disbelief across the globe. The murder of the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne was a direct affront to the empire's prestige and authority. It was an act that couldn't go unpunished. It was an act that would bring nations to the brink of war. Yet, amidst the chaos and confusion, few could have predicted the ramifications of this single event. Few could have foreseen that this act of rebellion would be the catalyst for a conflict on a scale never before witnessed. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand was not just a crime, it was the spark that lit the fuse of the Great War. News of the regicide sent shockwaves across Europe. As the reality of what had transpired began to sink in, the continent braced itself for what was to come. The stage was set for a war that would change the world forever. In the corridors of power, diplomatic tensions soared, and the world held its breath. News of the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife Sophie spread like wildfire across Europe. As the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, the Archduke's death was more than a personal tragedy, it was a political earthquake that shook the very foundations of European diplomacy. This assassination was not just an act of violence, it was a spark that ignited a powder keg of diplomatic tensions that had been simmering beneath the surface for years. Europe was a complex web of alliances, rivalries, and military buildups. The death of the Archduke was the match that set this volatile mix ablaze. In the halls of power in London, Paris, Berlin, and Vienna, leaders scrambled to respond. Telegrams flew back and forth as diplomats, generals, and monarchs tried to make sense of the unfolding crisis. The world watched in anxious anticipation. Would this incident lead to war, or could peace be salvaged? Meanwhile, in the heart of the Balkans, Serbia found itself in the crosshairs. The assassin, Gavrilo Princip, was a Bosnian Serb, and many in Austria-Hungary were quick to place the blame on Serbia. The tension between the two nations was nothing new. For years, Serbia had been striving for greater autonomy and influence, much to the annoyance of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. As the days passed, the diplomatic crisis escalated. The world watched in dread as the prospect of a peaceful resolution seemed to slip further and further away. The specter of war loomed large over Europe, casting a long, ominous shadow. Amidst the turmoil, Austria-Hungary, driven by a thirst for retribution, issued an ultimatum to Serbia. This ultimatum was a turning point. It was a clear signal that Austria-Hungary was not interested in diplomacy. They wanted justice, and they were willing to go to war to get it. The stage was set for a conflict that would engulf the world and change the course of history forever. July 28, 1914, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia, marking the official commencement of the Great War. This decision wasn't made lightly. Austria-Hungary was in a state of emotional turmoil, reeling from the assassination of their heir apparent, Archduke Franz Ferdinand. The echoes of the assassin's bullets had barely faded when the Austro-Hungarian Empire, driven by revenge, issued an ultimatum to Serbia. The ultimatum was loaded with demands, many of which were seen as a direct affront to Serbia's sovereignty. It was clear that Austria-Hungary was not just seeking justice for the assassination, it was seeking a reason to unleash its military might. And Serbia's inevitable inability to fully comply with the ultimatum provided just that. As the news of Austria-Hungary's declaration of war spread across Europe, the reactions from the various powers were swift and decisive. The web of alliances that had been woven over the years began to tighten, pulling the European powers towards a conflict of unprecedented scale. Germany, bound by its alliance with Austria-Hungary, declared its support. Russia, with its Slavic ties to Serbia, started its mobilization, a move that would push Germany to declare war on Russia. France, allied with Russia, found itself drawn into the conflict, and Britain, with its entente with France and Russia, could not stand by. In the span of a week, what began as a regional conflict in the Balkans transformed into a continental crisis. Military mobilizations began in earnest. Soldiers, most of them young men full of patriotic fervor, were called to arms, unaware of the horrors that awaited them in the trenches. In this volatile environment, the leaders of these nations were not just commanders-in-chief, but also gamblers, staking the lives of millions on their strategic decisions. These were the men who held the fate of Europe, and as it would turn out, the world, in their hands. And so the stage was set for the Great War. The guns of August were ready to fire, and the world was about to be plunged into a conflict that would redefine warfare and reshape the geopolitical landscape. This was the dawn of the Great War. The world would never be the same again. And there you have it, the riveting beginning of our World War I saga on HistoriDoc. We've taken a step back into the summer of 1914, where the world unknowingly teetered on the brink of a monumental conflict. The tranquil streets of Sarajevo, the gunshot that echoed through the air, the diplomatic tensions that followed, these are the threads that weave the tapestry of our shared past. Our journey doesn't end here. In fact, it's just the beginning. In the upcoming episodes, we'll delve deeper, peeling back layer after layer of history to reveal the untold stories of the Great War. We'll explore the domino effect that led to the involvement of nations far and wide, the grueling realities of trench warfare, and the gripping tales that shaped the course of history. We encourage you to interact with us. Share your thoughts in the comments section. What struck you the most about the events we discussed today? What other aspects of the Great War are you curious about? We'll be reading your comments, and we may even include some of your insights in our future episodes. If you found today's journey fascinating, do give us a thumbs up. It's a simple gesture, but it goes a long way in supporting our work. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. That way, you won't miss out on any of our upcoming episodes. Remember, history isn't just a collection of dates and events. It's a rich tapestry of stories. of triumphs and failures, of heroes and villains. It's our shared narrative, and it's up to us to keep these stories alive, to learn from them, and to pass them on to future generations. Thanks for being part of HistoriDoc's exploration of the past. Until next time, keep discovering, keep learning,